Hello everyone, my name is David and welcome to Athlone Castle. Now each year at the end of August, Ireland celebrates National Heritage Week. So Heritage Week is coordinated by the Heritage Council with people all over the country celebrating Ireland's built, natural and cultural heritage. That's why we want you to join us in this celebration. We have prepared lots of activities for you to enjoy here at Athlone Castle when you come visit us, or virtually on our website and our social channels. And in this video, we're going to show you how to replicate an archaeological excavation at home. So for your own archaeological dig at home, you'll need a few items which you can find in your own household. Now you can build your own, or you might have a basin which you can fill with sand, you can fill it with soil, or even stone. Open your kitchen drawer, you'll find some spoons, and they can be used instead of what we use, which are trowels. If you have a cushion or a knee pad, very useful when kneeling and excavating at the same time. A set of spoons, as I said, but also a Ziploc bag. Any find you have, record it, pop it in the bag, and even date it if you'd like. And last but not least, as well as a trowel, in your case a spoon, you can use a paintbrush, or any type of brush for that.
So some of you might be history enthusiasts, some of you past archaeologists, some of you might have no knowledge whatsoever. And that is more or less for you. But this workshop is for everyone. So we're going to replicate an archaeological excavation in this sandpit in front of me, and you can do the same in your own house, in your own back garden, in your own backyard. So with regard to the tools that we as archaeologists would use, first and foremost, you have your trowel, your digging tool, your scraping tool. And this is very important when revealing and taking away the very first layer of soil or sand that you may have in your pit. Now, you mightn't have a trowel, but what you can use instead is your trusted old spoon. You use it for stirring your tea or coffee in the morning, use it for eating your breakfast, but of course just take it out of your kitchen cupboard or your drawer and use it for digging on site. Next up, a brush, a paintbrush. Now, all of you should have these at home. If not, very cheap, very easy to use. And this is also very important when an item is revealed, an artifact is revealed under the surface of the soil or the sand. You can clear away any excess moisture from the object, any sediment. In this case, it's going to be sand. In your case, it could be stone or even soil. When we find an object, an artifact in the ground, what do we do with it? Do we throw it away? Do we put it to one side? Forget about it? No. We record it. Now, we're not going to go into too much detail. Usually when you record it, you would draw it, sketch it. You would fill in an artifact recovery form. But for us today, we're just going to use a very simple Ziploc or sandwich bag. Again, find these in your own wardrobes or your cupboards. And this is what you would place the object into. And if you want, once these ones have labels on the front, you can actually record what the object you found is, the date, the time, and there it is, locked away for memory. So when we talk about archaeology, what are we actually talking about? Archaeology is the study of the past through material remains. What remains are those, you ask me? Well, material remains could be many things. Structural, walls, buildings under the surface that still have, I suppose, a feature. You also have material remains such as trees, shrubs, twigs in the ground that can actually give you an idea of the surrounding area around the excavation. But the excavation that we're actually going to replicate for you here takes place in the grounds of Athlone Castle Visitor Centre, not on an archaeological site. For this, we're using a sandpit, and in that sandpit, of course, is plain old sand. So, in field archaeology today, which is what archaeologists actually do in this country, we're on our hands and knees every single day on site. So, to protect your knees, you actually have a pad. Even half this size would work. So, let's have a look on this site. I'm going to start digging this area around here. Just very slowly. And just like that, we've come across something which, to me, looks very much like a metal object. So, let's keep going. We're doing this very carefully, very slowly. Doing it all around the object to reveal what it might actually be. So, it seems to be curved in nature. So we'll just scrape away just very gently the top layer of sand. Now what we can see are small little rivets on the edge, it seems. So, still don't know what it is, but we'll dig even further and brush away with our paintbrush to reveal a little bit more. So now we're getting a really good picture. Rivets along the bottom edge, almost conical in shape. Suggests it could be some sort of headgear, headpiece, maybe even a helmet. Let's dig away a little bit further. And just like that, we have what looks like a very small piece of leather with holes within. So it looks like it would have been attached under the chin. Let's see if we can find the rest of it. So now we have a really good idea of what this object might be. And this looks to me like it's some sort of medieval, middle-age helmet. Could be Viking, it could be Norman. Just not quite sure yet. That, of course, will all be found out much later when it's sent off to be tested by specialists. But for now, we're just going to dig away, and eventually we're going to lift it up from the ground. So again, very slowly, just dig it away. So now we actually can find where the peak actually stops. So we can actually lift that all away. Find out a little bit more from the structure of this helmet, because we're getting towards the inside of it. So we're actually seeing a little bit more of the inner structure of the helmet itself, the part that actually sits on top of your head. But let's see a bit more of this. So we're seeing, so it seems to be placed on its side. And on my left here seems to be the piece that would actually cover the front of your face and your nose. Let's dig this away, move it all away. Come in with our brush, just brush off all that excess sand. Starting to see a very unusual design on the front, which incorporates this nose piece here. Take away that and just kind of reveal a little bit more of that nose piece. Get a protective guard in front of the face. And we can start to dig away at the inside, gently moving the strap. So we're ready to lift. And it seems quite intact, in fact very much so. I'm just going to slightly tilt it. And there it is. A fully intact, to me, Anglo-Norman helmet. And this, once cleaned off, can be sketched, it can be recorded, it can be bagged. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we have a handy accompanying suit of armour to place it upon. And that now will go atop our armour. So artifacts in the ground could be made up of any substance. Stone, glass, metal, even bone. So for certain items, like in archaeology, they can actually be visible under the surface when that first layer of soil is stripped off. But also there might be an accumulation of stone in around a certain object. That's exactly what I think might be here. There seems to be a few stones placed, quite possibly strategically, next to the object. Sometimes you might find objects placed next to skeletons or skeletal remains when they're buried with prized possessions. So let's have a look and see what we can find around this area here. As you can see, there seems to be a little bit of stonework in around, so we're just going to move that out of the way. There's one down here as well. We're going to reveal so you can actually see the sand falling off what might be under the surface. It seems at first glance, from just gently scraping away that sand, it seems to be brown in colour. Very hard to tell what it even is. So let's have another little scrape away. So for me, this could be anything. It could be made of glass, it could be made of metal, it could be made of ceramic even. So we're going to dig down a little further, but first, a little brush. Just brush away that excess, just so reveal a little bit more of the picture. So right now, again, no idea what this object might be. So we have to dig even further. Sometimes you might be digging for a foot underground until you can actually get into the object and get near it. So let's have a little scoot around here with our trowel. And just like that, the head of this object appears. And it does seem to be a bottle of some sort, maybe even some sort of jug. If it's not an object with a handle, well then it's most likely a bottle of some description. So let's dig away. Force that sand away from this object. It slowly starts to reveal itself even further. Once again, get your trusted brush, brush away. At this stage, again, just like the helmet, it does seem to be very much intact. So at this stage, we're just going to move some of that sand out of the way, and if possible, we're going to lift it from the soil, or from the sand in this instance. So Just one last brush, a little clean, just to get all that cleaned up. So for me, this is some sort of glass bottle. Medieval in age, given the size of it. And we could suggest that it could have held some sort of liquids, maybe used on the feast table, quite possibly wine or even mead, type of honey that actually would have been drunk at that time. Very kind of really, I suppose, a beery honey that could have been drunk at that time. So this is what looks like a drinks bottle. So everybody, we found glass bottle, a helmet, all from the Middle Ages. And usually with a site like this, you might come across smaller items, maybe some pottery or even some coinage. That's actually what we're going to have a look for right now. And I'm going to pick a spot just around here, maybe in the middle between both of those excavated objects. I'm going to try just around here. See if we can actually come across anything. And just like that, very small silvery object. Just take away around it. As you can see, it kind of falls away. So it's very small, very minute. Just going to see if we can reveal a little bit more from it. And just like that, I was right about finding something in between the artifacts already discovered. We have what looks like a coin. Now, looking at it closely, this coin is quite familiar. Again, medieval in era. And how I know that is the actual design on the head of the coin. The design of a cross. Now, one of the first kings in the world to actually do this was a Viking king called King Citric. His coins are a little bit bigger. This coin would date from the time of King John. King John was around when this castle was actually being built, and these were his coins that he minted. And they actually place a cross within the middle of the coin so it can actually be broken up, because these coins were quite malleable. They could actually be broken. So this coin could be split in half. So with this being a King John's penny, you could then have, when it's broken in half, a half penny.
So there we have it, an archaeological dig. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this workshop, we would love to see a photo of your excavation you've done at home. So you can send them to us. You can email them to us, info@athlonecastle.ie, or tag Athlone Castle on social media, and we will share it online. But don't forget to keep an eye out for our other Heritage Week events. So during this Heritage Week, we will have special guests telling us about life in medieval times. And my good colleague Joanna will also be bringing you 2 medieval themed arts and crafts workshops. For more information, just head to our website, athlonecastle.ie. And finally, I'd like to thank the Heritage Council and the Irish Walltown Network for funding this video.